Right. Okay. So let's start, and I will make a quick introduction first. And again, you know, it is great to see so many of you have joined us this evening. And I am honored, you know, as the president of Hong Kong Institute of Urban Design, to welcome all of you, and you know, to have a chance to meet all of you online. This happy hour event among Hong Kong IUD, the expert in the urban design field, and you know, young urban designers from CU and Hong Kong U, is really an opportunity for us to share ideas and to connect socially, as well as to get to know one another better. We have prepared some sharing material for all of you this evening. Our Honorary Secretary, Ms. Sandy Lau, will briefly introduce Hong Kong IUD to you. Then we will have urban design project sharing by 3 eminent urban design firms, LWK plus Partners plus 8, and Carlson RTKL. I hope all of you actually will enjoy the sharing and find the conversations interesting. Hong Kong IUD really is here to support, you know, the development of your career. We treasure young urban designers because you are the hope and the future of a better tomorrow for us. So I hope you will enjoy the sharing and find the conversations interesting, and you know, to ask questions if you have any points that you want us to clarify or elaborate. And again, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank everyone for joining us tonight, especially, you know, Carlson RTKL plus 8 and LWK plus Partners for their support of our Hong Kong IUD event. And last but not least, I wish everyone health, and hopefully we can get back to normal situation soon. May I now, I think, invite Sunny to share with us about the Hong Kong IUD's objectives and activities. Sunny.
Hi, hello, good evening, everyone. Thank you all for joining us. This is the very first virtual happy hour. We hope that this the virus won't stop us from understanding and knowing each other. So we especially have this arrangement to welcome all of you as a new cohort of CUHK and Hong Kong U MUD students. Welcome again, and thanks, Donna, for the introduction. And now I would like to share the document. Cherry, may I have the access to the sharing, screen sharing? So
hold on.
So I see today we have a great participating number, which mostly teachers and students. So I would like to again thank you for joining. We are a young institute that established in 2010 June. So this year is a 10th year anniversary of establishment, and I'm still not able to share the screen yet, but I would like to quickly go through some of our objectives.
Maybe I share the screen.
Oh, great. So yes, so quick introductory of our institute and who we are. So this our institute is again this is the 10th year of our anniversary, and is comprised of a mix of professional from architecture, planning, landscape architecture, and engineer, urban design practitioners and academics. And we both work in public and private sectors, and also property development. And the establishing of this institute is, again, of course, to promote urban design in both all across sectors in Hong Kong, and as well as GB in the future. And we're working on that. And also we would like to, in the long term, to establish professional qualification for urban designers, and accredit different university courses. And of course, we would like to create a platform for information sharing and communication between urban designers. And we would like to also provide professional development through different activities and occasions. And for example, upcoming, we have a conference in November. So all this, we would like to promote awareness through this kind of different engagement. Yes, so here we have briefly, in June, we have an inauguration of the Greater Bay Area Urban Designer Alliances that we witnessed through online and also physical ceremony, witnessed by a lot of honorable guests, including our chief executive, and also the participation from all these Greater Bay Area cities that we're collaborating. Next, please. Next slide, please. Hello, Cherry. Can I have the next slide, please? Yeah, so here we can see some images of that day that marks our Greater Bay Urban Design Week, sponsored by Create Hong Kong, a government initiative, through the online press conference in June. And next slide, please. And we have also officially announced the conference, the Greater Bay Urban Design Conference, and also the Greater Bay Area Urban Design Award, which is already in the process of judging different emitted projects around the area. And soon it will be announced throughout the conference. And next, please. And later on, we can hope you can look into our social media platforms such as Facebook and our website to learn more about the conference, and welcome you all to join. It will be a virtual one. And then we also have initiative to revamp the urban design compendium and protocols. We're working with the government and producing a new body of knowledge on advancement on urban design guidelines. And next, please. Well, yes, of course, we would like to, through this platform, to promote all this quality that urban design can bring into Hong Kong. So we would like you to be reminded how can we promote such different qualities like connectivity, quality, diversity, sustainability, and walkability throughout your projects or your different ideas in your coursework, and in different in your coursework in the university as well. And maybe we will just quickly go through some information and also some things that I would like you guys to aware of. So here are some local affairs that Hong Kong IUD has been working on and be addressing our position. And I won't go through it in details, but for example, some major events and interests that have a lot of stakeholders is involved. So IUD is also within the discussion, among the discussion of this affairs locally. Next, please. And also we, through different events we host, like touring of latest development, like the K11 Museum. We occasionally host and jointly co-host with different parties such as PGBC. And last year we got the honor to be visiting the newly developed urban design done by the New World developer in Tsim Sha Tsui, the K11 Museum. And we also host a series of CPD visits with other institute called Join or just run by ourselves. Next, please. And we also go through, of course, rounds of education accreditation recognition in both of your universities. Next, please. Sorry, the slides has moved away from the main page. So yeah, here also we have a different series of discussion forum on various hot topics such as Lantau tomorrow and other exhibition showing of our previous year's awards and exhibited in different locations such as a Central City Gallery in 2018. So all these events are to recognize good quality urban design and projects that has been done with quality. Next, please. So perhaps we can go through this slides quickly because I would like to save the best for the invited speakers to share their work. And all this information you can also, we will update it on our website and promoting, please help promoting on Facebook and also other social media that we will be working on. And we would like you guys to join as a graduate member to join our young urban design committee, designer committee. Next, please. Yeah, so here are some competition we host. And so far we have a number of 190 full members, and we still need more young graduate member to join us. So, and student member, of course. So we, I encourage you strongly to join us. And also we have been great increase of corporate affiliate corporate members. And also we have new fellow members joining us because of our 10th anniversaries. Next, please. So here is a list of urban design practice that we has established. So some of the big international firms are also show their interest in joining our institute, and more to come. Next, please. Yeah, so again, you can find all this information on how to join our institute through different tracks, and Cherry and I will be happy to show or to assist you in order to join our institute. Thank you. So this is Sunny again, the Honor Secretary, serving you guys this new term, and welcome you all again. So I will pass the floor to our great speakers.
Hi, everyone. Thank you, HKIUD, for inviting LWK to join this virtual happy hour and have a chance to share our experience again with your members. My name is Greg Leong. I'm the Director of Planning at LWK Plus Partners. And the project that I would like to share with you is a project that we completed the conceptual planning stage last year. And it is let me share the screen. It's the OCT Harbor at in Zhongshan. All right. OCT, the Overseas Chinese Town, is a big Chinese developer who is well known for their experiential commercial development, and the OCT Harbor is their flagship IP. And currently, there are 2 OCT harbors, and one is in Shenzhen, and the other one in Shunde, that was also only opened in a year and a half ago. And the third one is this one in Zhongshan, which we have done the master plan for them. And what we stress on is the thematic side of things, the environmental side of things, and the vibrancy of commercial and all these elements, that how they can come together. And where it is located quite in the center of Zhongshan. And it is a quite strategic location, which is only 30 minutes from Guangzhou, an hour from Shenzhen, and 2 hours from Hong Kong. Virtually, it can cover the whole Greater Bay Area. And the site is quite interesting and at the same time challenging. It is located between a main North Ring Road on the north, and on the south is the Shiqi River. But then the site is a 60+ hectares area that is spread over a few blocks.
Sorry, Greg, is the slide not moving? It's not moving to what you're saying. Is it stuck or is it just me?
I'm still
on the cover page.
You're still on the cover page.
Is that for everybody or just?
Correct, yeah. Maybe also you can make it full screen. It would also be more visible.
I am on full screen when I'm watching, or maybe I will not do the full screen. Maybe that sometimes is what will happen. Okay. Is that
okay? Now
is that moving?
Now it's on the.
Okay, I'll go to. I mean, okay. We start with some. We have started with some images, and then this is location. as I said, it was in the center of Zhongshan, and it covers the Greater Bay Area pretty much fully. And the site, as I was saying, is quite interesting, at the same time challenging, and is located in the north with the main North Ring Road and the railway. The Zhongshan North Intercity train station is not far away, and on the south side we have the Shiqi River. It's a main river for Zhongshan. The site is 60 plus hectares and is spread over a few blocks area, and with a river bisecting it, so it makes some challenges in terms of how to make a coherent development for this project. And the roadway, as I said, this is the ring road, and also there is in the planning there is a suppressed road that is going to run through the site over here, and then there is this really strange U-shaped road that crosses the site of define the site on the south side. And there's a few besides the the railway. There's also a few proposed metro line into the line 1 that interchange here, as well as a planned Metro Line 5, which is going to come through our site with proposed metro station at these 2 points near our site. And also, I think from the government, they also wishes that we could somehow also use the river as another mean of transportation, with a pier, proposed pier at the tip over here at the mouth of the convergence of the 2 rivers. And this is what we received from the government or from the client about the original land use. And it's mostly the pink is commercial, so it's mostly commercial with this is entertainment and leisure. So it's basically a predominantly commercial site, mixed-use site. OCT has done 2 OCT harbors, so they have a specific sets of requirements or programs that they want to fit in this site, and these programs consist of a big mall, a hotel, a retail street, commercial villas, a theme park, and offices and hotel and residential. The wetland park is a part of the original government control plan. So it has been planned as a wetland park, but it's outside of the client's site. In the beginning, when we started the project, we had a long conversation with a client, mainly, I mean, there's mainly about the positioning of these functions. And the original plan from the client, instruction from the client is having the mall close to the northern edge by the main ring road. Their rationale is a better access, better vehicular access for the mall, and having the commercial villas on the south side, southern tip here, which so they're kind of on their own corner here, being very have a very more pristine, quiet quality to them. And after our studying of this site, we have counter-offered them to have the villas on the north side and having the mall on the south side. And our main argument is saying that the mall would receive much better foot traffic as well as attention from the surrounding while being in the middle of things rather than at the edge of the site, where there's a train tracks and open space and highway, many layers of transportation areas that doesn't give the mall any frontage at all. As on the contrary, on the south side, it can make use of a certain river view. It has the surrounding residential surrounding it, so they have a lot of very good frontage for the retail area. And as for the commercial villas, I think is on the contrary. I think would be more quiet on this end. And of course, I think when we started the project, I think the team has kind of zoned in on how the site is being bisected by this riverside, and there is a wetland park going to be planned in this area. So although it's not part of the client site, we have decided that to make this as one of the central element or the organizing element for this project, so developing both river banks of this river as a gluing agent to glue together the east side and the west side of the development, as well as using the wetland park as part of the could be like front garden for the development if people are entering from the riverside. And the next idea is to make use of the water as an element of the design element, where what we wanted to do is to create a series of, could be archipelago typed, to really try to make this water idea the main theme of the development. And afterwards, after we iron those ideas out, is just to try to fit those prescribed program onto the site. And in this diagram, we can see we fit the mall in here. It's a great big development over here. And then there's some human-scaled retail streets and eco-villas that is all surrounded. They're being developed along this river and also have their own river features within their own site, and having the great wetland and at the mouth of the river is also a welcoming gesture into this development. And of course, on the far side, close to the train station, is a cultural district, business district, that is another focal point of the project. And besides having using the water as the linking element for the entire 60+ hectares of things, we also have developed this elevated walkway that is gonna lead the people from the east into the west side and the central side of things. And essentially, in terms of the planning framework, we are making use of the main river and developing both sides of the river banks, thus creating two cores as the organizing agent of this site, including on the east side as a thematic core, which is connecting to the theme park area, and a spatial core, which is a central element for the commercial side of things, and these two cores interlock with the rest of the few districts in residential, villas, commercial, and wetland, so become this this framework of a 3 nexus and 6 district. And this project stresses on the quality lifestyle and experiential features, dynamic diversity, and urban resort. And the main development theme is the positioning is an urban resort, and which is different from, which we envision is to be different from the first 2 generation of OCT Harbor, where the first one doesn't have a theme park, and the second one, in the one in Shunde, is connected to the theme park. And I would like this 3rd generation to be having this, besides having the theme park, is actually having the theme park, the thematic of things, characteristics also embedded into the commercial side development as well. And the concept of urban resort is that hydropolis is a water-based urban resort that brings commercial, tourism, F&B, residential, office, and entertainment together. And as I was saying, that we would try to fit the theme park theme features as part of the characteristics of the commercial area at the same time. And this is the master plan, and you can see that we're in the central column is mainly an leisure and open space area with a wetland park on the south and a theme park on the north, and the metro station that I was talking about is located right here. So the people that takes the metro to the area can exit out here and immediately enter the theme park through the central plaza. So they have a choice to enter the theme park at this point or crosses the river to the mall and retail street side. And of course, from the, as I said, from the train station, there you can come through the elevated walkway and brings you all the way around this development. And this is pretty much divided into 6 districts. The 3 spine, the three nexus, which is defined by the rivers, and the 6 districts. And you can see the main commercial area is comprised of a big mall, and the service apartments is a big high density development that is contrasted by the human scaled retail street over here. And on the front, on the south side is the wetland park and the theme park and the commercial development, office development in the east. And in the central area where the river, the main central river runs through it, we also have the time capsule, the Coated heritage zone, which implies that this is the origin of this project, is the river, the environmental side of environmental beginning, and also the heritage, the beginning of these development in the central area of the thing. And this is in the background, you can see the mall and the service apartment and the hotel over here. And then they're all in the waterfront, in the central water feature, central lake. And this is the human scaled retail street, which is just off the central heritage zone. And as I said, we try to design all the programs. They always have a side that can face the river to make use of that water feature, the view of the water feature. And another view from the outdoor theater, where is kind of also half a view of the lake and the rest of the development in the south. You can see there's a juxtaposition between the more modern architecture as well as the heritage part of it, and that's also one of the OCT brand. The characteristics is a mix of old and new. Another view at the east, looking at the hotel, and another view of the heritage side of the waterfront. The eco villas in the north, and the theme park entrance, the entrance plaza being here, also converged with the elevated walkways that leads to the train station, and also and then it's kind of the futuristic kind of meeting the heritage into the central heritage zone over here. And then our approach of making use of the public river banks along the river has been, the client likes it very much, as well as the government also approve of this this design. And a few views of the theme park and the cultural business area, which is in the east by train station. As I said, there is the walkway, which is going to bring you all the way, can bring you from the train station all the way into our development. So in a nutshell, this project, in 64 hectares of area, we created 11 unique districts, 2.5 kilometers of pedestrianized loop, 600 meters of river activities, 15 theme park pavilions, 7 distinct bridges, 8 plazas and parks, 3 thematic spaces, and 20 islands. And after we finish this conceptual planning, so we are actually our architectural team has continued to develop the design for the mall as well as the residential part of this project. And then I think the mall area, actually, I think the schematic design stage will be finished before the year end. And this is it's a real it's an interesting experience, as this is the first time that our project is done from 3 different offices. Besides the planning department in Hong Kong, we also have our architectural team from Shenzhen as well as in Chongqing to assist on the architectural design, and also the landscape team from Hong Kong to develop the open spaces. So it's all through and through, I think it's a great experience for us, and also it's a good win for us to be able to win the project and continue with the next phase of things. Well, so this is my sharing, and thank you very much for listening in. Thank you.
Thank you, Gregory, for sharing this interesting hydropolis project that is recently done by his team. And I know that there must be a lot of great question awaits, but we will save the best discussion in the end. The Q&A section will be at 7:15. So now,
Sunny,
please have.
I do have to. I have to apologize, but I do have another meeting, so I will not be able to join the Q&A. But you can collect the questions, and I can also always answer back to you in another time, if that's okay. So, thank you very much.
Sure. So yeah, unfortunately, maybe we will save this question for later. But we'll definitely thank you for joining us and presenting the work. Maybe we will do that if you can stay a little bit longer, then that would be great. If not, please thank you. And thank you, Greg, for sharing again. So
thank you very much.
Yes, thanks. So we'll have the next speaker from +8, also part of our member. So hand it over to you, Kenny, or her colleague.
Hello.
Yes, we can hear you.
Oh, great. Hi, everyone. Do you guys see my screen?
Yes, it's good. It's good.
Oh, that's cool. Hi, everyone. Thanks for inviting us to join this happy hour of the HKIUD. My name is Jingheng Lau, and they call me Lau anyway. I'm the representative of the +8 urban design team. And today, actually, what I'm going to share is not one specific project. And actually, I would like to share what I've been thinking during these years of urban design practice. The topic I'm going to share today is the urban design should tell a story. Why a story instead of a series of stories? Because urban design is actually tying up all the puzzles and all the buildings together. We're actually creating the public realms. So the public realms, I mean, those puzzles, they are not individual puzzles anymore. And those people in the city, they are not individual peoples because they're actually tied up in this urban setting. So the urban setting itself becomes a story. So anyway, a quick introduction of who we are first. So +8, we are a group of young designers based on the GMT +8, the time zone. We are based in Hong Kong, and we are serving China, we're serving Southeast Asia, and we're actually serving 26% of the world's population. And we have abundant work experience in Asia and China, and we have designers over more than 20 years of experience on over 40 territories across China and Southeast Asia. And our scope of work will range from urban design to small-scale interior design as well. So we are a compact team, but we are multitask and multi-scale. So why storytelling? Why now? Because actually, when majority of urban designer is talking about zoning and regulations, we actually want to bring up an inspiring alternative vision by asking how do we want to live our lives. Indeed, the urban setting that houses us, the space we live in and we work in, it really defines the way we interact with each other and the relationship that unfold in our lives. We can think of the city where all people all have rights as a space of stories. The story of people that live there, of the people that work in those production systems, of the people that learn and grow from, of the people who play and interact in. We actually base our urban design ideology into 3 realms: the smart city, the eye-level city, and also the sustainable city. And actually today I'm going to share 3 stories respectively to see how we urban design tells stories. So the first story is about how we introduce sustainable design into a city. Sustainability, in a way, we call it smart. Actually, we actually released a paper of this smartness, smart cities. In that paper, we claim that smart city is actually not a word, it's actually a process. And actually, we don't even need to call it smart city. Actually, we should call it smartness. It's actually a process since history until now, the way the city is going to evolve. But however, we're not going to talk about that paper. We're going to talk about this this project first. Let's see a video first.
Hi, do we expect audio or it's mute?
Oh yes, there shall be video, shall be audio. Can you guys hear the audio?
No.
No, unfortunately.
Oh, that's a pity because it has beautiful music and also some interviewees.
Yeah, Lau, you can when you sorry, it's Jacqueline.
Oh, Jacqueline.
Hi, yeah, good to hear from you. So when you click share screen,
Yeah?
there's a pop-up box and you can click share computer sound.
Oh,
I see that.
so what I'm going to do now? Shall
Maybe,
I?
like you pause and share again.
Okay, stop share, and then I share screen and
Yeah,
share
the
sound.
pop-up. Yeah, share computer sound. Yeah, there you go.
Got it.
我喜欢有活力的城市，工作机会也会更多。很看重生活便利程度的，家门10分钟之内一定要有便利店啊、餐厅啊、超市啊，就各种生活设施。
I would like to live in a city that is modern, innovative, creative, culturally diverse, safe. They all vary in different ways.
Have to deal with sustainability. Second one, the city should be like smart enough. And then the third one, I would say the city have to provide like a one-stop living city.
High density sort of encourages people to be more on it, more sort of wanting to do things, wanting to go for it. And then countryside is also helping them to relax and, you know, so you have the best of both. So if you have high density close to countryside, that'd be great.
我应该还是会选择住在大都市里面，但是有个前提就是必须要有方便的交通，然后可以让我周末的时候想放松的时候，可以很快的到比较乡下、比较开阔、比较绿的地方，要在工作的时候再回到城市里面。
Yeah, so as the video as the video showed, before we actually got into the project, we conducted interviews with random guys in the street to see how they want the smart or sustainable city to be. So this project was initiated by Ping An Group. Ping An Group is actually a famous Chinese smart city platform provider as well as a developer. We want to see how we can combine the client's strength in smart city with how people would want to lead their lives. So we make this plan. Even though it looks like other cities from master plan, but it has so many smart ideologies behind it. So speaking of the smart city ideas, there are so many smart city ideas in history, even started from 1911, we have this, and also 1932, we have the Raymond Hood, the Center of Progress International Exposition, and also, yeah, we have so many smart city ideologies. But with all those smart city ideas, we see a trend from 1910 to 2010. is actually the city is growing from a stable structure to a kinetic structure, is growing to a mega structure, one single mega structure to a mobile structure, and is growing from internationalism to contextualism, and from its focus on transportation to the focus of connectivity. Actually, the focus of transportation and the focus of connectivity actually is what we so-called the concentric model and also decentralized model. So unlike the city industrial or TOD or other city models, which can be framed with Lynch 5 elements theory, smartness is actually a process instead of a physical, morphological movement of city. It does not yet have a clear rule. But however, the smart city actually will include some networks, we call it the cognitive networks and spatial networks. And when the networks they interweave with each other, we can simply conclude some principles out of it. The principles of this smart cities we will conclude it as the governance power and decentralization, stakeholders consensus, flexibility, public awareness, livability, resilience, and facing. And we're actually combining this 8 and more principles into this Tongshan planning. And today in this sharing, I'm going to share with you the decentralization and flexibility. What is the decentralized urban form? So first we need to see what is the centralized urban form. The typical TOD, the transportation centered urban form is the concentric. It is actually requires adjacent height land use. So it becomes a concentric model where land price and density decreases as the distance grows. The retail and business usually go right next to the station. So this is very typical, especially in Chicago. So the decentralized urban model is, well, actually what we want to create in this Tongshan city is this decentralized model. So this is where there's only points of interest, but no significant CBD-like concentrations. So each point of interest is equal in space. They define themselves in their own space, but they do not concentrate into a specific zoning. So a city will not be zoned, rather it will be scattered, so the public space and functional space just happened. So this is what we call the Internet of Things. We think we can apply this Internet of Things into this city. Actually, no matter how it sounds like informal and anarchy, but it actually requires a carefully planned smart system. Decentralization will be depending on a smart infrastructure underneath the public surface. This makes the decentralization urban model possible. Thus, in a point of interest place, we no longer expect buildings agglomerations. Rather, we will see big, open, flexible, and playful space next to individual high-dense buildings. And also, the other principle of the 8 principles of the smart city is the flexible urban land use. So in this Tongshan planning, it's a very big planning. We identify some zones as white zones. So the white zones, they don't mean not developed yet. It's actually what we call the smart zone. To smart in a way that it gives the developers and business maximum leeway to change how a building functions as their needs grow. And also the flexibility will also be on the infrastructure itself. So we would like to introduce the small tunnel, the small common surface tunnel underground where most of the pipes can be accommodated. They can be much more flexible and land saving than the huge pipes that includes everything. And also on the streetscape, we also introduced the flexible streets. So some part of the street they are reserved to change by adding or combining layers so that we can embed things for future use. So in this way, through a smart city strategy, we actually decentralize the city and we find place for those interviewees who demanded their space in the city. So actually, in the summer of last year, we released a paper based on this project. The paper is called The Smartness as a Process. It explores how urban design can help to shape smart city, what's the smart city principle, and what would be the smart city failures and histories. Okay, the other project I'm going to share with you is It's actually the eye-level project of the urban design. We call it From Planning to Place, P2P. It's the tech town in Nanchang. So when we talk about planning, we have so many ideologies. We talk about productions, we talk about lifestyle, we talk about ecology, and actually this planning slogan is given by the client. The clients would like to create a 三生智慧城. To translate in English is three: a production, lifestyle, and ecology, smart city, something like that. But how are we going to combine these three together? So literally, as you can see in this master plan, all those lands, they have been privatized. They have been privatized into some real estates and some industrial parks and also some schools. So they have walls. So this is a very common Chinese city situation. But how are we going to combine our planning ideology into it? So we were like, how about we just make a central spine? And this central spine is the central platform where we put everything onto it. And this central axis or this central platform, we try to simulate the people's life surrounding this central axis. So people actually they can live their lives anywhere in this district. However, they somehow would go back to the central platform to exchange their idea and exchange their lifestyle. So this is what the axis would be. It sounds like a very easy urban design approach, doing an axis, but actually the implementation is not that easy. It actually needs cooperation of all those individual architects and different developers in order to make this space. Okay, so we also did quite a lot of guidelines. We identify where's the bike rail and where's where we're going to use the urban furnitures. And we set the guidelines of how to plant the trees. Like if we plant the sakura trees, we're going to plant 2 rows. So the first row, it will be the big trees. It will be each 10 meters. There will be a cluster of 5 sakura trees. And also there will be some usable sakura, smaller sakura trees. And they were going to be combined with some small lawns. And also we're going to create some walls. But well, that's urban design theory. But when it comes to practice, for example, this wall, it did not come easy. So because actually in the planning requirements, actually there is a brick wall and there's a pedestrian walk and there is a road, and they have very clear boundaries. The boundaries that we can't break easily. And so actually, this wall is very significant, and so we firstly because we want to create the exchange platform to put all those things together. So we talked to the school designer. Hey, how about because it's the new 21st century? Can you actually break the walls and open the school to the public? And firstly, the developer says, oh yeah, that's a good idea. So why not? The school, maybe in the weekend, we can open it to the public so that people can enjoy the facilities. And then when the developer finds the school operators, were like, that's definitely not going to be possible, because in China, still some people will rob the kids. Some people will just take the kids and go to the far end of the country. They will just run away with the kids. So wall must exist. So and then we try to talk with the school designer. The school designer happens to be a GSD friend of mine, and we talk to them like, hey, can you, if you have to keep the wall, can you actually move the wall back a little bit, like 2 meters? So this 2 meters is actually very significant for the school design. As you guys know, the school designs, it has very strict the sunlight requirements, and also the EVA, and also the fire trucks, and they have all those requirements, and they have already done the design. They're not willing to change. Then, we talk to developers, and the developers supported our ideas, and in the end, we worked with the school architect, and we worked together on their plans to see how we moved the wall. So we succeeded. We succeeded to move the wall back for 1.2 meters. 1.2 meters is very important. this 1.2 meters, it can actually create, it helps us to create this streetscape like this. So in this view, we see some pedestrian-friendly road and with some urban furnitures. And we also see a breathable wall with the school. So this is quite an important interface that did not come easy. And the other example is this space. So this space is actually the corner space of the housing. Wow, because the housing architect, they came in the project before us, and they planned their projects to have this big wall again, and all those housing blocks, they are just getting very close to the road. So we worked with the housing architect and also a developer, and we actually moved the wall away, and instead we introduced some retails, very small retails, community retails with outdoor sittings. So that is the way we create these beautiful images. Well, and also talking about the central axis, it's very difficult to implement too. Because while ideally this axis is very beautiful, it has lots of activities inside and is continual and is connecting every public space. But actually, the developer, someday they came to us and say, hey, we are going to sell this piece of land to another developer, and we are going to sell it as a whole piece. So you're not going to break this. Wow, and that's a very frustrating news for us. So we went to the other developer. So we actually held a meeting with several developers, and we were like, if we are going to block this access from the river, this access will no longer be the central access anymore. So it's the whole plan ideology is gone. So in the end, we succeeded. So we moved the we actually defined the space between these blocks. And this is how we create this image. So what I wanted to say is, every urban design ideologist, yes, we can plan it beautifully, and we can talk about a lot of ideologies. But in the end, we need quite a lot of efforts to implement it. And the last project I'm going to share quick because I know I'm running out of time, is the communication with the nature. And this project, we're very happy because we are a small team, and this project, we actually won the first prize. We beat the MLA Plus and SWA, all those big names. This project is actually between Shenzhen and Shantou. It's the Shenzhen and Shantou Cooperative Zone. So it's the flooding issue, it has the flooding issue, and it has lots of village, and it also it needs a very intensive urban development. So our task is how to do the interface between the city and also the eco protection. And also we need to deal with the interface between the city and the river, and also the country, or we say the village. And we actually went to the site, and from the site we discovered that although the flooding issue is very horrible in this area, the flooding, it will come every 5 hours in summer. So every day it will flood like 3 times, something like that. But actually the people, they live very well with the flooding issues. So they know when the tides will go away, and they will catch the clams. And also when we saw the flooding is coming, we asked the villagers to go away, and the villager says, wow, doesn't it only flood for a few hours? The water opens up to the ocean, and it will recede soon. So we know there could be some harmony treatments interface. So we actually designed the sections, how we are going to diverge the floodings, and how we're going to put the urban interface with the river. So this is one sample of the interface. So what we see, the farmland is actually the flood zone. And we actually create several dike systems so that this flood zone will only flood every 20 years, and some areas will only even flood for every 200 years. And this flood zone, we created some programmized place, and this programmized place was named after the village. The village is behind this R&D area. And this is another interface. So this is a landscape installation next to a river. And when it floods, it becomes another landscape. And this is a plaza that is also floodable and also playable. So to conclude, this is not only to this sustainable city, it's actually to all our urban design project, all our urban design ideologies. We think dredging the river, breaking the blocks, stabilizing the water, and diversifying species so that we can farm and feed people. This is the old thinking that's like 2,000 years old. So we think there are ways to achieve it. And throughout all our urban design and architecture jobs, we all have stories. We all have stories about the smart cities. We all have stories about how we're looking, how we're implementing them in eye level, and also how we are going to treat the interface with the nature. So urban design exceeds the domain of physical matter, of the built environment, but it's really about how we want to live our lives, how we script our own stories and those of others. That concludes my presentation. Thank you.
Thank you. Now from +8 sharing this very great projects and reminding us the ideologies takes a lot of effort to visualize and also to persuade and to educate the clients. And thank you for sharing the methodology, very interesting from a human perspective and for also from some historical references. So may I now invite the last speaker of sharing the work. He's also our newly joined council member, Michael, and his firm, Callison RTKL. Over to you, Michael. Can you unmute?
Okay, you can hear me and see the screen, right?
Yes.
Brilliant. Well, I only have like 7 or less than 5 minutes or so, so I'm going to go really fast. But it's me, Michael Prashad. I'm a planner and urban designer, and I'm representing Callison RTKL, which is a very global firm. We have 21 offices across the globe, 3 of them here in Southeast Asia. Some of the sort of more impactful projects that we have worked on here in the region are actually mostly in Vietnam, to be honest with you. This one is one in northern Vietnam. It's a provincial plan that has a lot of sort of implications in terms of trade and economic zones and those kinds of things. So a lot of complex issues that we sort of deal with. Another sort of more regional scale project that we've worked on in Hanoi, the Red River redevelopment. I don't know if some of these have been in the news actually, and I know some people on the call are probably familiar with them as well. But really thinking about resilience, water resilience, and climate change and long-term impact, and how can cities sort of prepare for these kinds of challenges. And then more fun scale, the master plan for the Hanoi Opera House District. We did the initial master plan, and I think Renzo Piano is now doing the actual buildings, if you guys have seen that. Very sort of hyper mixed use projects we have also worked on in Jakarta, really ticking all the boxes of, you know, being a smart city, being mix of uses, thinking about climate and the impact of, you know, water in proximity. So really creating very exciting places that people want to live and where people want to be. And probably one of the more iconic projects we have in our portfolio is the Dubai Creek Harbor. The master plan was done by us, but the landmark tower was done by Calatrava. I don't know if you guys are also following the development of that. So that's sort of the flavor of our firm and what we do. What I want to talk about, you know, I was thinking about the previous 2 presentations and you're really sort of framing getting into the project, but knowing our audience and students, I sort of want to touch a little bit about the questions that you ask yourself, and you ask of your client, and you ask of your the place where your project is. You know, there's some important questions that you need to ask before you get into any of the design. And I sort of want to share sort of the way or the framing of some of these questions to help you develop a project. And that's sort of what I want to focus on. The project example, it's called the Ho Dong Central Park. It's in northern Vietnam, close to China. It's also being considered as a special economic zone because a lot of the trading, small trading via container shipping arrive on a port here in Ho Dong. So it's essentially a trading gateway for Vietnam between China. The city itself, it's a sort of a emerging, developing, emerging city because of some of the infrastructure that's being developed between China and Vietnam. So it's sort of getting its legs in good connectivity with roads and ports and those kinds of things. So they're beginning to think of another level of maturity of how do people live and how do they improve their lives. And this project is more of a sort of a community-based project that the city and the private developer is offering. It's a park, actually, a very large regional park, as you can see the size of the park compared to the city center. But you know, one of the questions that you sort of have to ask, you know, where are you located, and what is the sort of what are your contexts that you have to deal with, and how do you sort of connect or respect this context? And as you can see, some of the bigger sort of pieces that you have to be cognizant about are, like the other speakers have said, you know, connectivity. How do you get to the site? How do you get away from the site? What are some of the more larger infrastructure pieces that are along the site? Interestingly enough, this site, they have an airport there. It's a small regional airport that serves the Halong Bay tourist archipelago, which is just to the southeast. So it's really sort of have an extra asset that not a lot of actually not a lot of projects or site or city have. So contextually, it has a lot to offer, and making it already something that could have a very wide reach. The site right now, it's actually just a swampland. It does have an existing water treatment plant, so it's a little bit of an on-site constraint, but nevertheless, it's a very sort of open field wetland. As you can see, some of the picture of the quality of it. But again, being cognizant of what is the texture and what is the sort of the given is an important question to ask. Fortunately, before COVID, you know, you can fly there and you can have a sort of a walkthrough to get a feel for what it really sort of has to offer. Really beautiful context. And just to give you guys a scale of this project, you know, it's 4 kilometers long by 2.8 kilometers wide. I don't know how many of you guys are familiar with Sentosa Island, so it's essentially the size of Sentosa Island. And, you know, the question about what are some of the challenges, you know, because of the airport, there's a sort of a restrictive flight path. So that's something that you have to be, you know, really cognizant about. Other restrictions on the site were some existing power lines. It seems like most projects in Vietnam and parts of China that I've worked on, there's always an overhead power line. This one also has an underground water main that we really had to be cognizant about. And also the restrictive sort of accessibility on the perimeter. Most of these are highways without really not a lot of off-ramps and roads to get into the site. So again, they wanted this to be sort of a park that the city benefits from, but also becomes a catalyst for new development for the city. The other question that you really sort of have to zoom out and ask, you know, what is the orientation, or what is the position, or what is it that the size of this project can offer, not only the city but the wider region. And you know, what you have to quickly do is a little bit of an audit, because you have to know what you have to and what you need to offer, and maybe fill that gap in a little bit. And it's a very rich cultural place because of its proximity to China. There are a lot of influence architecturally and culturally, but there are some uniqueness to Vietnamese heritage and culture, as you can probably see some of the French influence here. But extremely beautiful vegetation, lots of greenery because of its location. So there are some anchors there that you can really sort of play off. And again, you when you go into one of these projects, you have to ask yourself, what are some of the existing assets that you can really sort of play off of? And because of that and its positioning, we thought that maybe it could become the sort of the gateway into the larger tourist archipelago of Halong Bay. It's an extremely popular place in Vietnam, and they really don't have an entry infrastructure. So we thought that Halong Bay, and essentially this park, can be an introduction to the sort of the wider green archipelago that's out in the distance. But before you sort of get to that definition or offer a gateway city, there must be some quality of a gateway city. So as you're sort of developing, you know, a narrative or a position, we were asking ourselves, what is it that a gateway city offers, right? So it could become the region's primary entry and departure point, and this, especially since the airport was there or is part of the city fabric already. And then it becomes a very competitive and attractive place, not only for people and people to live, but also as an attractive place for businesses and so on. You can also develop unique markets, because as a gateway, it offers certain infrastructure and certain benefits to develop new industry. So positioning it as a gateway has really a lot of benefits that they can play off of. But once you get down to the scale of the park, you know, what is it that the park will offer to the city? It's an important question, because you just don't do a park in a vacuum. It has to give a response to the needs of the city. And these are some of the questions that we were thinking about. And one thing from the analysis that we have done, it definitely needs to offer a very robust blue and green network. Vietnam is notorious for, that part of Vietnam is notorious for its heavy rain. And there's a really not a, there's a lack of integration between a robust blue and green network. So we thought that we can use this park to sort of enhance that network. You know, it's a very industrious city, so we thought that this park can offer, you know, a place for being an active lifestyle, a healthy lifestyle. Currently, you know, the biking and the sort of the really absolute non-urban park-like doesn't exist in the city. So we thought that this is something, not only something new, but something that could really sort of enhance the quality and the competitiveness of the city. With the site right now as it is, it's a sort of a wetland. So we thought that, hey, you know, preserve some of that wetland. It doesn't have to be a complete redo. So you maintain some of the quality and the texture and the character of the city. So it's important for the people to, you know, still be reminded and value what they have there. And of course, there must be an ecological balance. You know, you cannot really focus on just one aspect of what you're offering to the city, but there must be a balance between the different systems that you want to implement. And of course, at the end of the day, you know, everybody is looking to become competitive. Everybody is looking to be prosperous. Everybody is looking to sort of elevate themselves. So with all of these things, you know, a project like this, or you know, essentially a park like this, could make them much more competitive, because it becomes something unique. It becomes something that's attractive, and it's just a very sort of a transformative element for the city. And then once you sort of get down into scale, you start to think about what's the character of it, right? And you're starting to create a narrative, right? So it's the sort of the lung of the city. It's sort of the, you know, the relief of getting away from the urban center, getting away into true nature. It becomes the heart of the city. It becomes where physically you can exercise and you can sort of start experiencing a different sort of outlook, an active lifestyle. It becomes a sort of a brain. With the size of the park, we were thinking that, you know, there's enough room here that you can start introducing programs that it could be sort of a knowledge base. So, you know, an observatory or a museum or those kinds of things. So it becomes sort of this full system of, you know, that applies to multiple senses. And above all of that, you also, you know, not only have the question about the residents, the question about what the park wants to be, but also people that might be using the park, not only internally, but also like as a regional park and a gateway into the Halong Bay archipelago. So, you know, it's essentially you're making the park for residents. That will be the #1 users, and what they require and what they need are, you know, very unique to Halong and to the city. You also, because of its location and its proximity to Halong Bay, you are going to have local and international tourists and visitors. So you want to keep that in mind in crafting your experience. Because of it, the knowledge part of it, we envision that you can really appeal or also offer programs that will attract students and educators. And this is all part of sort of this really citywide upliftment that this park or this project brings. And beyond that, because of the location again and all of the training that's happening around the park and the project, there is a sector of business and trade shows that could be considered part of the user. So there are absolutely multiple layers of programs and users that can really make it a regional player that appeals to a wide audience of people. Sunny, I don't know how much time we have. I can go on, or we can sort of stop there. But the key point that I wanted to share is the questions that you sort of asked before you get into the details of the project and how you respond to those.
Yes, that would be great. We can start the more interactive session of the Q&A because I see there are more questions flowing in. And again, thank you, Meisho, to show us a different part of the portfolio in this basically based in Southeast Asia and from an international firm's point of view and approach. Yeah, you can, if you can quickly skim through, and then we can perhaps start with the questions. Any question for our speakers? Welcome from the members and participants, students. You can raise your hand and we can let you speak, and then I go through, or either you can type the chat, type in the chat group.
Hello.
Hello, yes, I see Professor Sujata raise her hand. Maybe we'll let her speak and
we just
have the first question for the speakers.
So I'm wondering if we apply for the student member of the HKIUD, and what kind of event can we participate in, and what should we do?
Okay, thank you, Darren, for your question, but we will come back to you later. First, Hi.
I'm a student. I'm a student of UD program.
Oh, I see. What's your name again?
I'm Zhang Zhixing, and I am Darren's student. Zhang Zhixing, yes.
I see. Thank you for your question. Perhaps for the event part, we will come back to you for the of the membership and how to join and what kind of events, all this. I see Professor Sujata has a very urgent question for the
I
speakers.
was going to say, let the students ask first, maybe, and I can follow later. Let the students ask the questions.
Somebody why don't you come here?
Yeah, sure, of course. Wow, I see a lot of students walking around us, very actively engaged.
All here, and, but they use one microphone.
So perhaps if someone is not asking question to direct address the speaker, I will read off the first question from the chat group.
Sunny, actually, we have Yibing here who I think wrote one of the questions in the chat, and so she could ask.
Yes.
That's okay.
Yes. Oh, Yibing, please.
Hi. As I mentioned, I'm so curious about the tunnels in the second case, and I'm not so clear about the functions of the tunnels and how to make it as a reality project. I think it's very smart and also it's very modern, and I am so curious about that, the details.
Yeah, thanks Evie for a great question. We've been thinking through this part for a long time. Yeah, you're a good observer. Thank you. Tunnel is so important in the urban development because for common urban development, you put all the facilities. I mean all the urban systems into one single tunnel. You will dig a very big tunnel, and then you're going to put the water surface, and you're going to put the water drain, and even the optical fibers, and even the electricity, everything into that one big tunnel. And every time you need to change one cable, you need to put a big hole underneath the ground, and then you need to see everything.
Sorry, you mean actually we have some we call it the integrated tunnel in Peking. We have really. You mean that one or?
Yes, integrated. The integrated ones. The integrated ones, very big tunnel, and they are cross departments. So when you need to fix something, you need to take a big hole, and then you need to fix everything.
Yeah.
So what we propose in that project is actually the small tunnels instead of one big ones. So actually, some tunnels they are bound to be big. For example, the water drain, the storm drainage, they have to be big tunnels, and they are separated, of course. But the electricity cables and the optical fibers and those small tunnels, well, we can separate them. When we separate them, if we need to fix them, if we need to upgrade them, we can just easily dig small holes underneath the ground. So that is much more easier to replace and fix and other stuffs. Yeah.
Got it. Thank you.
Great. Thank you. Thanks, Yibing.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot.
Thank you, Yibing. I see other question from Jia Yuan. Juan. Is she around? Do you want to ask the question yourself or?
Okay.
Oh, okay. And I'm very interested about the Nanchang project by Lau. I see that you said that middle of the road to connect the ocean is very important, and also we have a project about a road that in the middle of it there has a green belt, and I want to know what's the function of it in this project, and do you have any detailed design of it?
Thank you. Okay, the question. Thank you. The question is direct to the second presenter, Lau, again.
Yeah, and I'm sharing the screen again now. So yeah, actually we did quite a lot of detailed design on this central axis. So I mean, maybe the question is more about how important it is to the whole community. Well, functionally, it's not so important, I would have to say, because even we are trying to decrease its importance in transportation, in the transportation system. But why we put so much energy into the central axis? Because it's like the only possible public places that we can create for this privatized pieces of lands. So we see in this master plan, we have school, we have a school here, it's walled, and we have two industrial parks, and they are walled. And also we have several communities, and they are all walled. So when they're all walled and enclosed, all those people, they don't need to interact with each other. Every day they just need to go away to work and then come back home to sleep. But the whole pieces of land, it is developed by a group of developers who are very close to each other. They're all associated with Vanke. And Vanke really wants to create a city, wants to create a community where people can interact with each other. And it seems like in the whole master plan, the central road is the only opportunity that people can interact with each other. And also how they want to interact with each other. The Vanke, they said we want to include the 生产 production, and also we want to include the 生活. We want to include the 生态 into the same project. Yes, they want to include those slogans because that's how they are going to sell those communities. Yes, those are the slogans. But how we are going to make this slogan into places, this is the only possibility. So that's why we're trying so hard to create this. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you.
Great, thank you. And I think there's a lot of people very interested in all this work done by +8. And I see there's another question from Lee's list. Is she around?
Hi, hello.
Oh, hi. Would you like to share your question to all of us?
Yes, with the development of the 5.
We have some feedback. Please mute your microphone.
Yeah, we have to only one microphone for less confusion.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hello. Mainland China, with the development of the 5G and the no-manned delivery, it will quite develop, right? So also we have the high-speed railway to connect each city, like the Suzhou and Shanghai. So the high mobility also changed the urban form so far. So when you're talking about the smart city, so do we have any chance to invite the brand new urban form in the future?
Yeah, thank you for your question, Litsi. I hope I pronounced it right. But anyway, I think I'm going to share the screen again. Yeah, so let's talk about this master plan. Yes, we have this high-speed railroad, and this high-speed railroad, it is connecting from Suzhou and all the way to Shanghai. Yes, and actually we think this is not a typical 5G smart city urban form, but is definitely a anti-TOD urban form. Because if that's a TOD urban form, if that's a centralized urban form, it's going to be a very dense city around this area.
Yeah.
And because this area has very high adjacency to the railway. However, you know what's the reality is that no matter how we're going to plan it, this Dongxiang is going to be a subsidiary city. is not going to be the main city. So even if we plan some or some retail facilities and commercial facilities, it would just be some, for example, some international schools that draws the kids from Shanghai, and probably it will going to be some let's say some Walmarts, and also some mass sale place that maybe draws people from Suzhou. So it's not going to be the city on its own. That's the reality. So no matter how we're going to plan it, it's not going to be a big city. But instead, what we are trying to plan this master plan is that we create the points of interest of everywhere. So as you see, well, for example, this one is a little hospital, and this little hospital has a community around it. And also this place is a resort, a farmland resort, and has a lot of resorts around it. And this place is a retail center that has some retail around it. And this place is R&D center that has some facilities around it. However, there is no a core. There's no a single core that is really defined to CBD. So actually all the functions are equal. The R&D program, they're equal to the train station, and it's equal to the hospital, and it's equal to anything. Well, by anything, I mean no big or small, because we all know that the ONGUS, in the 70s, they claimed that the urban is archipelago. So the urban would, in ONGUS context, he would try to differentiate it as several hierarchies. The archipelagos, they are the landmarks, and people, they will swim across the ocean from one archipelago to the other archipelago. So actually that archipelago is somehow is like a decentralized model. So it's not a specific urban form. It's actually like, it's actually how the city will organize itself and how the people will interact with each other. For example, in the archipelago analogy, and also in this master plan you're looking at, so people, they don't actually need to go to the specific place to enjoy the facilities. They can go to the hospital through their phones, and they can go to the R&D center with their phones. And well, yes, they would need to physically go to the train station to take the train, but probably they can fly someday. So it's not concentric. So I think the decentralization might probably be the answer of the 5G urban form. I don't know. We're exploring.
Okay. Yeah.
Yeah.
Thanks.
Thank you again for the answer. I think this question also could open up for any speakers who would like to address Meisho, or even a professor around participating in this chat. If there is any response, welcome to raise your hand or to open up the discussion, because this is such a hot topic. 5G will be available, and is available in the Chinese cities. How will it transform the up and coming development of the urban form? Yes, any would like to
Are there more students wanting to talk? Sujata here. Are there more students who want to ask questions? Otherwise, I wouldn't mind responding to what Jingheng just mentioned about decentralizing.
Yes, please. Sure,
yeah,
please go ahead.
I think, like, you know, with the current COVID situation, right? One of the things that I think we should be looking at is where we create more open space, and also, like, you know, less density around areas, and also walking is the more you walk actually is better for you, and I think from that point of view, maybe it's something to explore. But I would at the same time think, if you're a train operator and you are, like, you know, like you are the MTR or maybe another metro line, you would definitely want more catchment for the viability of the metro as well, the line as well. So I think you need to balance out those things, and I would like to see what kind of response, because otherwise, if you don't have proper catchment for train lines, it'll be difficult. And a lot of times, I think the MTR here relies on property development near the train stations to make the line operation and also implementation viable. So if you take that away, I think, making it less packed than, like, say, Kowloon Station is probably the worst you can expect in terms of like the density. It was too much, and people know they've made a mistake there. But I think going the other way around, having nothing near the station is probably also not a right solution, because it may not be viable. So I'd like responses from other people to talk about it, but definitely looking at COVID is important. And also the other presentations had a lot of waterfront related development. And as I'm sitting here, my own city in India is completely flooded. So there's a problem. You need to think about resiliency, flooding issues, and everything when you're planning for these kind of developments. So these are my points that I would like people to discuss. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Dr. Sujata. This is great. Question leads to the next question, which is for the first and the last presentation from Sayat. The question is there any consideration for tidal effects in the river, as there are 20+ islands? And what about water edges activities in winter and rainy seasons? That may be perhaps addressed to the urban resilience during the planning of those coastline cities, like shown in the presentation of Mayshore.
Yeah.
Would you like to respond?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, there are definitely consideration for the water. As you guys know, climate change is extremely important. It's not an extremely important topic. It's real. It's fact, and it's happening. So you really have to sort of make it a default part of your research. And again, questioning. I really want to emphasize that about the questions that you're asking when you come up with these challenges. And the way that we dealt with that, actually, it's traditionally what people normally do. They respond with with actually concrete. Let's be honest. But what we have discovered now, there are more natural response using, the natural form of the riverbanks. Give it enough space to sort of grow and contract. Instead of just building concrete walls, bringing in pumps and those kinds of things. So recognizing what the impact is of the rising tides and water flow and those kinds of things, you really sort of have to definitely respond, making sure that property and real estate are also appropriately positioned so they're not sort of impacted down the line. Fortunately for us, we're owned by a Dutch company, so they're very good with water and water resiliency. So we get to learn a lot about
that. Thank you. And anyone would like to respond or have any questions for discussion? It will be a great topic to see how the courses or topics that within the academic in the school, how is this climate resiliency and emergency is being addressed in the course of the of students. Yes, Hendrik, welcome.
Maybe just as a feedback, I don't know if you can hear. I just found like I found from the different things that we've heard presentations. Thank you to everyone. That I was particularly thinking that in Lao's presentation, where he started from the story, right, and then master plan, but then it became very interesting when that then went to the eye level, right? And the kind of negotiation between different stakeholders when it's really about a street space and so on, and the fights that often have to be fought then to really get these kind of qualities, right? So I thought that was a quite nice way, because we are at the moment looking at exactly such areas in let's say Shamshuipo, Chengshawan, with school district, with potential, like for example, how can we create with under the pandemic more breathing space, more space for anyway for pedestrian, but also it goes beyond just kind of only walkable, but also is a more kind of complete picture. And I think those also the visualizations were quite nice in terms of the before after, like how they usually look like and how they look in a rendering, right? But then it's often so hard to get that actually done. But on the other hand, these are exactly probably those fights, right, when they are done, and there's the persistency and so on to fight them through, which could be so important for example, Hong Kong, right, to basically respond to some of those issues that we have, you know, like for example, the question of social distancing, how in a kind of urban environment that's quite dense to create those urban qualities, and not say like, okay, we make a nice master plan, but then when it comes to that, then it goes to the next person in line, but we are already in the next project and so on. So I think that was quite impressive and very nice, and I hope that was also interesting for students. So thanks for that part, right? So also because we are trying to explain those different points of course, the role, the importance to work with different stakeholders and so on, and where that really becomes so essential, right? I don't know if Lau wants to say, I mean, this is now a project, for example, which is in planning, right? Now, do you want to also say something about maybe, or maybe even in the Hong Kong condition, or somewhere where you guys had a particular fight that you were fighting, or where that worked out and so on? Because I think that was quite a nice point in your presentation.
Thank you, Hendrik. We haven't been able to participate in Hong Kong projects, yeah. But yeah, we have heard that how difficult it is. Because I used to work in other firms who has an Hong Kong project department, and every day I just see them having a lot of hearings and lots of like public participation programs. They need to persuade like literally everyone to get the project done. Yeah, I know that's difficult. Actually in China, we actually have the privilege of the centralized power, as to speak. So if we need to get something down, all we need to do is actually find the right hierarchy of people. If the developer denies it, then we find his boss. And if his boss denies it, then we can find the city municipal leaders. So actually, in China, we can find someone like this. But in Hong Kong, I know it's a whole different stories. Each stakeholders, they constrain each others, and literally need to talk to everyone to get the things done. Yeah, Hong Kong, this situation really needs a lot of energy to actually get the quality of space.
Yeah, that's why. Yeah, HKIUD would like to create a platform for creating opportunities and channels for communications and engage more stakeholders to realize some urgent issues about the urban form and other topics such as aging, etc. Yes, Dr. Sujata, you have.
I just wanted to say that you know, the example in Hong Kong, if you take the Kai Tak master plan, when Stephen Tang worked and he was on the I don't know if he's there on the call today, but when he worked on the KITEC, in the KITEC office, I know for sure in the beginning that the, the roads were on the waterfront edges of the runway, both sides. And he negotiated from within government to actually put them above or in the middle, so that the waterfront on both sides of the runway was actually for pedestrians and for the promenades and everything. So I think in Hong Kong, you can work, and negotiate, but it's still tougher. Where I find it's more difficult, I heard, is when it goes to the buildings level, building department level, where the codes and everything are so restrictive that it's almost impossible to negotiate things. But on a planning and urban design level, if you put in the effort, there are things that have been done which have been changed. But you do need to, I think, I don't know if other people agree on, especially the speakers who presented. I almost feel that in practice, about maybe 20 to 30% would be your time for design. And your 60 to 70% goes into all these other things. The project coordination, management, and also negotiations and everything. And even when we did the capital city plan, urban design guidelines in Amaravati in India, it was unbelievable how much time we spent in these kind of negotiations. So I think, students might think 100% is design and they're done, but actually it's not true. You have a lot more amount you need to do on communicating and negotiating and working with the clients and all the stakeholders. Others may chip in from your experience.
And make sure you have to unmute.
Yeah, I was going to say that's exactly why I actually talked about the questions that you need to ask. Because at the beginning, and it's not only a sort of a linear question, it's very, it's multiple layers and multidiscipline as well. The one thing that I didn't mention, we're also working with economists and environmentalists and these kinds of people. So you also have to ask these questions beyond design. It's really, really important. And to be honest with you, for me personally, that's the fun part, where you sort of go and you interact with people and you learn so much from anybody else, because you know what you know. You have a team of designers that actually are much smarter than me, to be honest. But I try to really engage outwardly. So it's an important thing for you guys to really develop, interacting with others, asking questions, connecting, and bring that to the studio, back to your design. It just makes a better project.
Yeah. That's a great point that you have pointed out. Students have the skills and the art of asking questions, the right question, or the directing to the right stakeholders, and foster discussion, and to able to realize your design is through a lot of effort and communications. Any students would like to respond? Or other questions? If not, we have overrun a little bit. Perhaps just quickly come back to the very first question by the students. How and why should you join IUD? And Sherry, could you explain a little bit about the mechanism?
Okay. This is Cherry, the admin officer of the HKIUD. For student members, it's free to join HKIUD. All you need to do is just fill in the application form, which is on our website, and then our committee and council will approve. And after that, you will be able to receive our activities invitations, and then you can participate in our future activities. So,
So saying you should definitely all do it because it's for free, right? So anyway, there's no downside, right? So maybe for our part, we can just kind of, you can all fill them out. We take them all together and send them in to Cherry. I'm happy to sponsor the step. Yeah. Okay, but there was another question basically that was basically related to what the benefit of that, right? What and I think there are, right? There are many benefits why to do that, right?
Mm-hmm. Fine.
Oh, Joe, our
hi, Hendrik.
minute past.
Hi everyone. Sujata, Darren, hi everyone. I just stepped down from the president, so but anyway, just Hendrik, you're asking the question, what's the benefit? Are you?
No, I think I know, but I think maybe just to make more advertisement for students to feel like yeah.
I think Donald has explained the current initiative. I think it is very relevant to the students studying in Hong Kong now. I understand most of the students actually coming from mainland China. So what we are now doing is setting up the Greater Bay Area Urban Designer Alliance was already set up in June this year. And the next step that we are now doing is to collaborate with the main other 4 cities in the region. I think Macau, Guangzhou, and Shenzhen and Zhuhai. So we are starting to we'll talk about how we set up a common urban designer qualification amongst ourselves. And then next step will be trying to solicit the various cities to mainstream urban design in the policy decision and also the project selection and also job opportunity. So joining HKIUD, you will receive the news of HKIUD, and you will very soon you will also receive news from the other 4 institutes that we are in collaborations in Macau and Zhuhai, Shenzhen, and Guangzhou. So in particular, I think some of you may be going back to work in China, then you will still see us when you work in China, or if you stay in Hong Kong, you will be keep in touch with what's going on in the other Greater Bay Area cities. So also for information is the convenership of this Greater Bay Urban Designer Alliance is by rotation. So by June next year, Guangzhou will be taking lead. So they will have a number of events to be organized, and information will be disseminated through the HKIUD website as well. So I just urge everyone's, if we are working in this region, then join HKIUD. There's nothing to lose, and definitely you'll get more information about what's happening on in this region on related to urban design. So is it too much for advertisement?
No, thanks so much. But I think maybe in addition also, which I think I believe that actually some of the students always of our students, they also want to stay in Hong Kong. Not all of them, but there are some. And obviously the step of being a student member is kind of the first step, right? But then with kind of
upon 2 years, then you can actually you have a privilege compared to other graduates of architecture and landscape architect. You only need 2 years of working experience. Then you are eligible to apply to change your memberships to full member. So now the idea of the ultimate to full membership, we hope that would be a stepping stone to then become a so-called registered urban designer in the Greater Bay Greater Bay area. So that's I think necessary step. If you really want to be your career to be an urban designer, then I think there's no other route. You must join us. So quick and short. So
in fact, Joel, I thought they would ask, what can we do to be more involved, rather than what can we benefit?
oh, then if definitely you just contact Sunny. Sunny need a lot of fresh blood to help organizing events, and also we on and off, I think we would have design competition as well. So we need all these young members to participate.
Yes, definitely. I need more help to organize and have some more great fun events that join the two schools and also other institutions, and also professional together to share the knowledge, to update the latest great projects and works that everyone is doing. We cannot work in silos, and our institute, the great thing is we have a lot of different disciplines. Before you study urban design, you were landscape architect, you were architecture, you were planner. So all this great skill set you have can contribute to a betterment of our cities, and also the Greater Bay Area, and also other cities in the world too. So welcome all to join effort in doing so, and this is a platform open for all. So I think we have marked a great opening of the term, and I hope we can keep in touch. And this is our very first event, and welcome for comments and how can we do better, and welcome to send us email. Cherry will collect all these emails or question for the first presenter, or anything we missed. And yes,
maybe we can take a photo of everyone looking into the camera, because this is a kind of special, because usually we always meet, right, for those events. Maybe for your website.
So we should all turn on our cameras if everyone is ready. I will do a big screenshot for 2 pages. We have 1 page of people left.
No, just for your camera. Just say, no, just look in your camera.
Just look in your camera. Turn on your camera.
Just
I will.
Sharon, turn on your camera too.
Just sit down and look. We just want to make a photo of everyone.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Cheers. And another page. Wait a second. Oh, the second page. 1, 2, 3. Cheers.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you all for joining.
Thanks, Sunny. Thanks, Joel. Thanks, Cherry. Yeah.
Bye-bye. Bye-bye. See you later.
Yeah.
Bye-bye. See you all later.
Thank you.